Welcome to the Friendship News Hour, sent to you by Bombardier Media. Today is September the 12th, 2023. My name is Frank. His name is Alex.
Oh,
man, the gilded time of the sports year is upon
back,
us.
baby.
It's just all there. It's all there. Football, baseball, U.S. Open tennis.
That's what I waited all summer for, man. Not watching baseball, waiting for this.
Yeah, right, exactly. Hockey starts.
Yep.
Basketball starts soon.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Good time of year.
Nice.
It's very nice.
It's nice. In the sweetest of ironies, I mean, I'm not a big tennis fan. I mean, you know, I saw the final, U.S. Open final. Djokovic won. It was awesome. Great match. And it seemed like he was, throughout the entire tournament, barely tested. I mean, just barely tested. This guy is just certified savage.
Yeah.
And at the end of the tournament, he has beaten his opponent. He is champion. This runs.
Well, we'll take you to the dirtiest shot of the day, and it was
saving
the
the
match point.
Oh, the match
point to get to number 24. There were a lot of shots that were highly impactful. But here's the final one.
If you missed that, if you're wondering why the hell we're even running that, Novak Djokovic very famously or infamously is unvaxxed and was not allowed to participate in the past two U.S. Opens.
Nope.
One U.S. Open, two?
Yep, two.
I think two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, past two U.S. Opens. Couldn't enter the country and participate in athletics because of his vaccination status. When asked about said vaccination status, he said, I could really care less about my legacy because my legacy is going to be what I chose to do in moments like this, and I've chosen not to inject myself with this vaccine. And if that means that I can't participate this final Grand Slam of the tennis season, then so be it. And he comes back, he absolutely wallops the competition, and it's all sponsored by Moderna. It's fucking amazing.
It's great.
It's incredible.
To the sports side, he is a little bit lucky. I think that Daniel Medvedev beat Carlos Alcaraz in the semi because even Medvedev was kind of in that second set. You could tell Joker was tired, bro. And Carlos is another level when it gets to that, and he would have pushed that button even harder. So I think he's a little bit lucky in this one that Carlos wasn't there because just like Carlos did in Wimbledon, which was the last major, I think he would have outlasted him with the legs. You could tell Joker was really, really tired. But man, you watch the final, those rallies that they were having, man, you don't usually see 20 to 30 volley back and forth rallies in tennis. Like that's rare, man.
So what is that indicative of?
Just two guys that know how to like play within, like how to control the ball, play within themselves. And I mean, obviously they're getting to some crazy balls, but like they've played each other so many times, they know each other. So they know when to try to make that move. But in the meantime, it's get it back to them. Hopefully they'll make a mistake. If not, you have to take a risk at some point and try to push them to move. And it was just, oh man, it was great tennis to watch. It was very interesting. And then on Saturday, the women's final with Coco Gauff, it was just, great tennis match. She lost the first set, came back and won the next two. Super young, 19 years old. I think the only other younger winner was Serena Williams when she did it at 17 in like 1997 or something. It was just really cool to see her do it on like the Arthur Ashe Court, famous African-American tennis player that changed a lot of things in the country as far as that's concerned racially with tennis and how that was viewed by that whole community. And just to see her do it was just, you could just see how much it meant to her. And they were even playing videos of when she was a kid going to the U.S. Open, watching Serena.
That was cool.
Yeah, and it's just, man, just full circle. And I've got to love it. I love her personality, and just the way she plays tennis is phenomenal too. So two really good finals. It was a great tournament this year. Sad that it's the end of the season for me. Got to wait till, I think, January or February. I think that's when I think it's the Australian Open that kicks it all off is. So
cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Go tennis. You, sir, have converted me a little bit. Not that I didn't like tennis previously, but it wasn't something that I sought out to watch. Wildly fascinating, wildly entertaining sport.
You're not the only one, man. I had my sister and Zach like watching, locked in, asking all these questions. I'm like, I feel so proud.
High drama in the tennis.
It is, man. High
drama. We didn't publicly put out our first of the year NFL picks last week. Did so offline, verified by the both of us, and Al came out on top.
That's right, baby.
9-7. 9 picks to 7 to my 8-8. So he's one up on me on the season. It is a long season. That being said,
you picked the Jets last night?
I did.
Wow, good pick.
I did, yes. And imagine my my horror.
Yeah.
When on the first drive,
dude,
Aaron Rodgers blows his Achilles.
Sucks,
what the fuck is that? episode.
Was that event sponsored by Moderna?
Maybe it was. Former NFL offensive lineman, former lineman for Aaron Rodgers. Or is he current? I don't know.
David Bakhtiari?
Yeah.
I think he's a Green Bay Packer still, but I honestly don't know.
He blasted the NFL. This is his tweet. Congrats, NFL. How many more players have to get hurt on artificial turf? You care more about soccer players than us. You plan to remove all artificial turf for the World Cup coming up, so clearly it's feasible. I'm sick of this. Do better. That's convenient coming from an offensive lineman. You should probably be talking to your boy over there at left tackle. That's the whole reason that he got injured in the first place. Bucko, but yeah, terrible break for the Jets. Terrible break for Aaron Rodgers. He's kind of, for an NFL guy, he's up there in age. Rip your Achilles. I mean, you don't have that many years left.
Right.
Coming back from an injury. I mean, I don't know what it's like to come back from Achilles injury. I hope I never find out.
Man.
But golly, man, that's rough.
Yeah. What David Bakhtiari was referring to, too, is that for the stadiums that got the World Cup berth for 2026,
right,
they are going to be removing the turf for those games and putting in real grass. And the players in the NFL are like, why can't we just do this everywhere? We want to play on grass or like the highest of turf qualities. And they're not making them do it.
And so that's a whole other conversation because I wonder if it boils down to costs or if it boils down to like the ability to maintain turf throughout the year, especially in a place like New York.
Yeah, that's true.
But if the trade-off is more injuries, more non-contact injuries, it's a contact sport. So, I mean, non-contact injuries like last night, it wasn't like the contact didn't necessarily cause the injury, but he was being tackled.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
But like we've seen stadiums, and I mean, these teams are worth billions and billions of dollars. The Redskins just sold for $6 billion this offseason. Right. We stadiums, Real Madrid stadium over in Spain, their grass remains under the ground. They have a system where the grass lowers underneath the ground of the playing field, and then it's closed off, and they can grow it and tend it and treat it and make sure it's manicured and nice. And then on game day, they raise it, and there it is. So it's like it is doable. I think. I don't know if the money's there like it is in football. I don't know. I think soccer is probably a richer sport.
I'm sure you could find it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's something I think the NFLPA needs to attack. I guess they did just like agree to a new contract, though, didn't they?
I'm not sure about any of that,
yeah.
but I know from personal experience, I absolutely like playing on grass more than I like playing on turf.
For sure,
100%. It was way better. Just the feel of it, a little more uneven, a little more messy. You get like, especially if there's weather involved, you'll get like mud spots, and I'm sure players have a lot to complain about when that shit happens too, right? Like there's no perfect solution, but if the trade-off is like snapped Achilles and ACLs, and I mean, it's like, that's not
right.
That's not good.
Not good. I saw a pretty funny video. Not that his injury is funny, but I saw a funny video of like Aaron Rodgers' career Jets highlights, and it's just him running out into the field with an American flag, and it ends.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
That's pretty much what it was. And then there's a deeper conversation. I don't know how many of you out there listening right now are NFL nerds. There was a pretty high-profile controversy, I guess you would call it. The running backs in the NFL are not getting paid right now. They're not being valued for their position. They're not getting long-term contracts because they are liabilities.
They're a dime a dozen too. Like they're a dime a dozen.
They take the most contact of any offensive player outside of linemen, whose job is to just absorb contact, and they're bigger dudes. So they're not getting paid like they used to, and it's become a real situation. Case in point, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Coming off of an injury year, snaps his Achilles, first game.
Injured every year though, man.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you want to get your money. You never know when you're going to get injured. And you're out there sacrificing your body for this sport, for this team. Yeah, I'm with them. They absolutely should get to be taken into consideration that you play a more dangerous sport and that you're getting, more or less screwed over by the powers that be. Because they recognize that your sacrifice is not worth the investment, but then they still expect you to play. So it's tough. I hope it gets better for the IRBs. While we're here, let's just do week 2.
Let's do it. I haven't even looked at the games yet.
Real quick, rapid fire. Vikings in Philadelphia for Thursday night. Eagles are 7-point favorites. So Vikings are spotted 7. In Philly, the Vikings kind of looked like shit last week.
Yeah, they
did the Eagles, really. After the first couple of possessions, they didn't look really good. So Philly to cover 7 on Thursday night. I'll probably regret this, but give me the Vikings.
I'm with you.
Okay. First game on Sunday, the Packers are in Atlanta, 1.5-point favorites in Atlanta. They looked really good against the Bears last week. The Falcons, they played Carolina. They kind of beat them up. I'm going to go Green Bay here. I don't like that pick, but I'm going to go Green Bay to cover the 1.5 on the road.
1.5, I think I can get behind that. They looked really good. Jordan Love looks like the real deal. I'm happy to see that Aaron Rodgers passed down the ownership of the Chicago Bears to him.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm on Green Bay.
Okay. Bills host the Raiders, and they're favored by 9 points against the Raiders. A Bills team that looked like absolute dog shit last night. Allen threw 3 interceptions, didn't look sharp. The Raiders, I don't know about the Raiders. What do you fucking know about the Raiders? But they're away at the bell. 9 points. Give me the Raiders.
Give me the Bills.
All right.
Bounce back
Bills
week.
covered 9. Bengals host the Ravens. That's crazy. They played 2 divisional games back to back.
Yeah, at the open of the year.
Ravens at the Bengals. Cincinnati.
What's the spread?
Is favored by 3.5. 3.5. Ravens at the Bengals. 3.5. Ravens at the Bengals.
Good game.
Divisional game. Joe Burrow, again, absolute piss poor effort. Ravens.
Bengals for me. They got to bounce back, man. And Lamar was making some careless mistakes too with the ball, man. He was looking sloppy. So give me Burrow and a bounce back at home.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Seahawks at Detroit. Game of the week for some.
I'm taking Lions with every pick this year.
That's fine. Lions are favored by 6 points at home.
I'll give it to him, man. Seahawks look like shit playing the Rams, man. The Rams aren't even that good.
Yeah, I'll take the Lions. Chargers at the Titans. Chargers are favored on the road against the Titans by 3 points. Fuck.
That's tough.
Man.
Ooh, that's tough. Chargers lost to the Dolphins.
So did the Titans. It's a close game.
Yeah. That Titans-Saints game was a close game. The Saints are for real, man. They look decent.
I don't know.
I always err on the side of the Chargers suck, so I'm going to go Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll go Titans too.
This could be the pick that wins it for you, Frank. Go with the homers.
But they put up a ton of points.
They did.
They put up a ton of points.
They did.
Give me the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers.
All
right. Bears at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 3 points. I don't think the Bears are that bad of a team.
Really?
I don't think the Bucs are that good of a team. And I think 3 points is enough for me to take the Bears.
Going Bucs, bro. That offensive line looks fucking terrible. Justin Fields had more rushing yards than all of the other 3 running backs. Like, I think they had him by like 2 yards. That's a problem. That means that man was running for his fucking life.
Also might be by design.
Packers a good D, but that offensive line they thought was a problem coming into the year. I think we just saw how big of a problem it is because the Packers are more stacked in the rear of their defense than they are in the front, and they manhandled them. So give me the Bucs.
You would like that, wouldn't you? Stacked in the rear.
I just love watching these Bears fans. There was so much hope. There was so much hope going into this season, Frank.
Well, there always fair. I mean, how many times did you, a Lions fan, start the season with the most unrealistic of expectations?
Like this year?
Yeah. Only to be let down severely.
I had a buddy put $2,500 on the Bears this week, and
God.
he is in a sad place now.
Ugh, I'd say.
Yeah. But give me the Bucs.
Okay. He's taking the Bucs. I'll take the Bears. Chiefs are in Jacksonville, and they're only favored by 3 points.
Oh, that's easy then. KC.
I think I'll take KC all day in that one.
Yeah, that's easy. I can't believe that
all
spread's
day.
not bigger.
They're going to be pissed.
Jacksonville,
Kelsey, you're probably back. I mean, Jags are good.
Trevor looked like he's finally kind of settling in. The addition of Ridley is good for them, man. And it opened up, what's his name, Zay Jones, the younger guy. He was looking good too. They got a good offense, Travis at the end, but give me KC.
Yeah, KC's not going to lose 2 in a row. I don't think.
No way.
Colts are in Houston. Both lost last week. Indianapolis is only favored by 1 point. It's a pick 'em. The Colts looked good. They look better than the Texans. Why not? Give me the Colts.
I would say Anthony Richardson looked pretty good. He can't keep taking those hits, though, man. He took some hits. He's a big man. He's 245, 250, but it's the NFL, bro. Those guys would take your fucking head off.
Niners in Los Angeles playing the Rams. The Niners are favored by 8 points on the road.
Ooh.
Give me the Rams in that one, for sure.
Damn, that's a huge spread.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot for an away
And the Rams
team.
put up some points this week. Who did the Rams play?
Yeah, they did.
Who'd they play? Seahawks. That's a well-coached defense. Yeah, give me the Rams.
Again, 2 divisional games in a row for the NFC West. That's weird. Okay, so you're taking the Rams too?
Mm-hmm.
Giants in Arizona. Giants are favored by 4. The Giants got blown out 40-0.
And they're favored by 4, you said?
And they're favored by 4 in Arizona. Arizona looked awful.
Yeah, I don't know how to read
Their
that.
quarterback
man.
is albino.
I don't know how to read it because the Commanders' D is supposed to be decent from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so 4 points on the road, Cardinals at home, 4 points. Yeah, I'll take the Giants. Giants will cover.
Giants seem like they need to get some dignity back, I would think. I just have no faith in Daniel Jones, bro.
Yeah, me either.
I think I'm going to go Cards.
Okay.
I think I am.
He's taking the Cards. Cowboys host the Jets. Cowboys are favored by 8.5 points at home.
Mm-hmm.
Are they 8.5 points
That's the
better
best
than
defense
the Jets?
in the league right there. I lost my fantasy. I won my one fantasy league because of them, and I got destroyed in another one. Broke my heart.
I'm going to roll with the Jets to cover that spread for sure. You like the Cowboys?
I like Cowboys. Yeah, that defense. Right. I mean, and Zach Wilson's a backup. You know, he's going to be playing the rest of the year. It's looking like, unless they bring in Tom Brady or somebody. I don't know. But
sure.
I just don't see it clicking. You know, they prepared all offseason for Aaron to be their guy, and now they got to deal with the guy that previously didn't work. I don't have long-term faith in it. Hell of a game yesterday, though.
I don't know if they win, but I don't think they lose by more than 8 points.
Yeah.
Commanders at Denver. Denver is a 3.5 point favorite. I don't know. There's another fucking pick 'em. For me, it's a toss-up. The Broncos probably should have won that game against the Raiders, but they're the Broncos. They're not in a good place right now. The Commanders, give me the Broncos. Give me the Broncos to cover at home.
It's 3 points,
Commanders,
you said?
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, I'll take Denver.
Sunday night, Dolphins at the Pats. The Dolphins are 2.5 point favorites on the road. Bill Belichick, I don't know if he has the recipe to stop Tua and all of his receivers.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know. Yeah, so give me Miami to cover the 2.5. 2 games on Monday night. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird.
Saints at the Panthers. Saints are 3 point favorites in Carolina.
Really quick, that's usually what they do on the first Monday of the year.
The first weekend.
Yeah, that's weird they didn't.
Saints 3 point favorites on the road in Carolina. Carolina, I'll take the Saints to cover.
Same.
And then Browns, Steelers, Browns in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got bitch slapped by the Niners. I mean, just walloped. It was bad. Cleveland looked okay. They looked way better in the second half.
It's hard to tell because on a rainy day, like you don't really know.
It was rainy. They had a lot of mistakes, but the Steelers just didn't look good. I mean, they had no offense. They had nothing. They had nothing going. Kenny Pickett threw 2 picks.
What's that spread?
2 points. Cleveland favored.
Give me Cleveland.
Yeah, I'll take Cleveland. And those are your picks. Take them to the bank. Or don't. When somebody suggests that you watch a movie or there's a movie out that you're thinking about seeing, what's the first thing you do?
Probably hop online and go to Rotten Tomatoes.
Admittedly, shamefully, same. and like why? I don't know. Martin Scorsese, if you are familiar with movies at all.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have. That's a name. He says it reduces the director to a content manufacturer, talking about Rotten Tomatoes.
That's true.
And the viewer to an unadventurous consumer. That's super true. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would rather, if I'm going to watch like 10 movies within the span of a year, I'd rather 3 of them be shit and 7 of them be good and me know nothing about them and just going and saying, let's see what this is about.
Yeah, because if you walk in there with a preconceived notion, it's going to taint your opinion of it somehow, I feel like.
Right? And like Van Wilder is not a great movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's awesome. It's a fucking awesome movie. But it's like if you're a critic, you're not going to be like, yeah, this is
there's no plot.
Art for the ages here. Mm-hmm. Ryan Reynolds at his finest. No, I mean it's not going to be that at all. But what is interesting about Rotten Tomatoes, I didn't know this. It's worth reminding people that the math is terrible when it comes to ranking movies. Scores are calculated by classifying each review as either positive or negative, thumbs up, thumbs down, and then dividing the number of positives by the total. That's it. That's the formula. That's how they decide whether something's fresh or not. So every review carries the same weight, whether it runs in like the New York Times or it's a Substack that has a dozen subscribers. It doesn't matter. Each review carries the same weight, and it's just pass or fail, right? And I think that's interesting because if you have something that's like on the cusp, that's like 60% fresh, then how many people are going to just say, it's not worth my time? And how many people are going to actually like look further? Mm-hmm. Which I mean, I feel like more often than not, like this cripples movies. There was a publicist, so I couldn't find the name, and they said in the days of old, an independent film would get all 3-star reviews, and it was like the kiss of death. right? 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 4, however they did it. But with Rotten Tomatoes, if you get all 3 reviews, it's fantastic. It's basically like saying you get 100% if you get all C's, right? A C is 70%. So if you scored all C's in all of your classes, you would get a 4.0 GPA, is basically the math here for Rotten Tomatoes. In other words, it's all fake. It's all bullshit.
It's probably studios paying Rotten Tomatoes to rate their movies high. So people go see
they
them.
are. No, well, they're not necessarily paying Rotten Tomatoes, but what they do is they like started this whole like subset of critics.
Oh, yeah.
That they'll pay to put their negative review on something that will get less traction. And so it will not get picked up by Rotten Tomatoes, and the positive reviews will then outweigh the negative reviews, and then it becomes certified fresh. I was just having a conversation with Jack yesterday about like the general perception of like how dumb the general public is. And I think it's really easy to just go into Rotten Tomatoes and just find the audience score, right? And then read some audience reviews. And that would be kind of how you decide whether or not you want to watch this movie or not. Van Wilder, for example. Let's see what Van Wilder looks like on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sure, well, I don't know. It's actually kind of a charming movie, but I can't remember how many times like I've gone on to Rotten Tomatoes and seen that the critic reviews are not great, but the audience reviews are 100%. Everybody loves the movie, and they could care less about like the cinematic themes or how the story comes together. They just enjoyed the movie, right? Which is the point of the movie. The point of the movie is not that like it's the absolute best movie ever.
Yeah, I actually pulled up a list here of the biggest discrepancies on Rotten Tomato from Reddit, where critics were rating movies super low and the audience thought they were super, like way better than rated. So like Star Wars The Last Jedi, I know that new franchise took a lot of heat. So critics rated it in the 95% area. While the audience rated it in the 40% area. So Disney had their hands in that one.
And I'm way more likely to listen to that than I am to listen to the critics. Van Wilder.
Uh-huh.
I literally just pulled it out of my head. Critics gave it an 18% rating. That's the tomato meter. Audience score 73%. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a shame.
Here's a couple movies where critics rated them low and audience said they were high. These are the biggest discrepancies here. I'll just list them out. Terminator Genesis, Justice League, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Lies, Passengers, Suicide Squad, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, the 2019 version of Lion King, 2019 version of Aladdin, and Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. So check those out, apparently, because the critics were rating them super low and people are loving them. So whatever that tells you.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have here? I don't know what the significance of the timing is with this one, but the Secret Service agent that was closest to John F. Kennedy when he was assassinated is breaking his silence after 60 years.
Oh.
He has a book. He's got a memoir coming out, so maybe he's just trying to sell copies. His name is Paul Landis, and he's got a memoir out. He was a part of the assassination in that he was there at Dealey Plaza. And then as soon as all this was over, as soon as Lyndon Johnson became president, he quit the Secret Service. He moved out of D.C. He had nightmares about it. He was really screwed up and just didn't want anything to do with American politics anymore. And you can't blame a guy who saw his boss's head get blown up. And as it turns out, if his memory is correct, which is a big caveat here, we all know how bad our memories are, this magic bullet theory is certifiably bullshit. His memory challenges, this is from the New York Times, his memory challenges the theory advanced by the Warren Commission that's been the subject of so much speculation and debate over the years. That one of the bullets fired at the president's limousine not only hit Kennedy, but Governor John Connally of Texas, who was riding with him in multiple places. I challenge you to look up the magic bullet theory and find the image that they tried to sell to the American public. Mr. Landis's account, included in a forthcoming memoir, would rewrite the narrative of one of modern Americans' history's most earth-shattering days in an important way. Essentially, what he says is that without any goal, without trying to like impart his own narrative, just this is his account, that while he was running, he was on the vehicle behind the president's limousine. When the shots rang out, he hopped off of the runner of his limousine, jetted over to Kennedy's limousine, and you can see him. If you ever saw the Zapruder film, you can see him. He's the guy that jumps on the back as the limousines are headed down to the freeway going to the hospital. And he found a bullet, picked it up, put it in his pocket. In all the chaos of what was going on, he had forgotten about that bullet. So when he was in the hospital, he took the bullet out of his pocket and he put it on the gurney right next to the president, who was now deceased. And right then and there, that's a fourth bullet.
Oh.
That's another shooter. And that's the entire narrative that was force-fed to the American public. Just absolutely crumbles at its base. So take that however you will. I already know. My mind's already made up, or I've already come to my own conclusion. But, I'm willing to hear that this guy's memory's not as good as it should be because this was 60 years ago and he's now 88. But a day like that, I mean, it's kind of scarred into your memory, I would think. And there's no incentive to lie about it, Other
than financial, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he wants to sell more memoirs and set up his family a little bit better. But, I mean, he had 60 years to do that, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it now. He wants to tell his story while he still can. People's memories generally don't improve over time. So there's a warning sign there. But just, do with that what you will.
You believe that it was the CIA, right? Like the organization he was trying to shut down. That makes probably the most sense. Do you think it's the mafia?
I believe that there were interests that John F. Kennedy was against so wholly, completely, and nakedly that he became the biggest threat to those interests that anybody had seen up to that point, and was intent on doing something about it. He wanted to pull us out of Vietnam. He was a voice for peace, real peace, real peace. The CIA had lied to him to his face about one of the worst disasters of his presidency, the Bay of Pigs, and he did not have a soft spot in his heart for the intelligence agencies. He said that he wanted to splinter them into 1,000 pieces and scatter them into the wind. I mean, he was the most popular person in the world. I mean, his family was the most popular family in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the political capital to do the things that he wanted to do. I think if you look at would benefit most from him being dead, it seems this had more to do with than just one guy.
Do you think Lyndon B. Johnson was involved?
I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever know.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the point of why this was a successful coup d'etat.
Mm-hmm.
It's because nobody was meant to find out who was in charge because nobody was in charge. But the official story is, I mean, it's like we just had 9/11. 9/11, now that I'm on Twitter as much as I am, is now not only a annual reminder of remembrance for the lives lost on 9/11, but also all of the questions that we still have about what happened. And if you look at what the official story is from the powers that be, for example, JFK's assassination, there are so many things that physically cannot happen that we're told to believe that happened that day.
Right.
So somebody on Twitter said it very beautifully yesterday. If you want to get rid of 9/11 truthers, then maybe stop lying to the American public. Maybe start there. Just stop lying to people, and then maybe you'll stop breeding people who ask a ton of questions and then start to see things that might be coincidences, and then start asking questions about those, and then start, attaching those to something that may have happened and start searching for those answers. I won't get into the weeds of 9/11, but I saw a really, really interesting documentary about World Trade Center 7, which is the building that collapsed.
It's the biggest.
5 hours.
It's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they went to. There was a bunch of engineers who had questions. This is kind of like RFK Jr., who was not an anti-vaxxer or had really nothing to do with vaccinations until he met hundreds upon hundreds of mothers who were like, hey, if you want to fight the good fight, here are all these mothers are not saying don't take the vax, but are asking the questions, could this thing have affected my child? Because everything was fine until they got the shot. And now there's hundreds of stories that of people saying the same thing. And now I'm looking into this if I'm RFK Jr., right? It's all these sort of things that happen. So this documentary had all these engineers asking questions about the way that World Trade Center 7 came down. And they recruited this architectural engineer from University of Anchorage, Alaska, and took some coaxing, but they finally convinced him to take on this study. And basically he was like, again, I'm not trying to write a narrative. I'm not trying to tell you what happened. I'm trying to tell you with everything that I know about architecture and physics, here's what could not have happened. And what the official story is about World Trade Center 7 absolutely could not have happened. Without a shadow of a doubt. It could not have happened. So I don't know what happened, but I know that what they're telling us that happened definitely didn't happen. And like how many times, like rinse and repeat throughout American history, you know, maybe we should have listened when they were telling us that America was the great evil, was the great Satan. Because we kind of are, dude. Like, we kind of are the worst.
To add to what you just said, Building 7 is the biggest red flag to me. There's also no clear video at all that shows the Pentagon being hit by a plane.
It is interesting that there's no surveillance.
Yeah, and you can go FBI records are right on the vault.gov, right from FBI. You can watch a video, and all you see is smoke. You do not see a collision or anything. They just show you the smoke from the building. I'm watching it right now. But there's hundreds of cameras that surround that building. It's one of the, obviously the most secure buildings in the whole country, supposedly. There's no clear footage of this. Like, if we're going to talk UFOs and no clear footage, like, we have more footage of UFOs that our government's released than of one of our biggest government buildings getting hit by a plane. So there's a lot of questions, like you said, a lot of questions that need answered. I don't think we'll ever get those answers. I think the truth behind them is way too scary.
Well, it's scary for the people. Yeah, it's scary for the people who's protecting them.
Yeah.
Because if we all knew, then we would all revolt.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd have no choice. We'd have no choice but to spill blood in the streets for the way that we've been lied to, because we've been told, like coddled little children, that we can't handle the truth about what had happened, or the people who have some sort of responsibility.
Right. Lost thousands of life that day, went and sent soldiers overseas and lost thousands of U.S. lives for potentially no reason then. There was no nuclear weapons found at all. Like, why were we there?
1 million Iraqis are dead.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
For what reason? I mean, really, truly, man, think about it. We are the perpetrators of some of the most evil acts that the world has ever seen. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, truly, if you look at it, I mean, we're really, 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 really bad.
Atomic bombs.
Some really, really, really bad things. And that's not to take away from patriotism that you might feel. All of us sitting here listening to this, working day in and day out, having families, going to ball games, drinking beer and having fun. I mean, we are exceptionally wealthy folks in whatever way that manifests in yourself. I mean, it compare yourself to any other time in history and really any other place in the world. And we are the top 1% just by being citizens of this country. So, I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for being an American citizen, and it's something that we should take very seriously because we are granted rights that other people just aren't. And even those motherfuckers are under attack. Did you see what happened in New Mexico on Friday?
No, I've heard bits and pieces, but I don't really know the facts of what's going on there.
Are you good? Did you have anything else to say about?
Oh, dude, I could talk 9/11 conspiracies all day.
Sure we could.
Let's move on.
I'm sure we could. It's probably best that we switch the subject. Governor Michelle Grisham said, and I quote, "No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute," as she put a 30-day ban on the right to carry guns publicly across Albuquerque.
Jesus.
She issued it as an emergency public health order.
So you're saying if you're a licensed gun holder in another state you lock it up and travel, you can't even travel through the state with it securely? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that New Mexico has laws that allow you to carry guns in public.
Oh, like open carry. Okay.
Yeah, in Albuquerque and surrounding areas. There was, I think, like 3 children. I really don't know the whole story. There were children that were killed by gun violence in New Mexico. And so this governor, and she said as much, that this is going to have to be challenged by a higher authority, meaning the courts, and probably not going to stick because you pretty much take the Bill of Rights, throw it down on the floor, and take a piss on it, is what she's doing. And she knows it's not going to stick, but she thinks that she has to do something drastic in order to get her message across. This is as blatant of a violation of our constitutional rights as I've seen since COVID, when all of the officials said, yeah, thank you for telling us about your rights that were granted to you, not by me, not by the Constitution, but by our Creator. But we're going to put those on pause until we say so, until we say it's safe, and then you can resume your rights if we say it's safe. That's why these things are so tricky, and that's why people get their panties up in a bunch, is because it's not about safety. It's not about wearing a mask. It's not about getting a vax. It's not about being a good citizen to your fellow citizen. It's about what it means in the long run. And in the long run, our constitutional rights were put on pause during COVID because of the threat of a virus that we didn't understand. It's a terrible precedent to set. And I got to imagine it empowers somebody like New Mexico Governor Grisham to literally say, yeah, I'm taking away your Second Amendment right, full stop, for 30 days because of some horrific things that I've seen happen in my state. And to say that no constitutional right is intended to be absolute, that is so dangerous. I mean, immediate impeachment. Yeah. If you're asking me, I mean, good Lord.
Now, can I slide into the devil's advocate chair and ask you a question?
No. This is echo chamber only, friend. No, absolutely not.
What separates that from stripping the rights of people through Supreme Court decisions, like on issues like abortion, which totally takes that out of their control, makes them have to leave their own state if they don't agree with the policy that their state decides to put into place? That's stripping an unalienable right, I would think, as well. But yet, I think, like we've generally said, like that's the way it goes. Supreme Court ultimate justice, law of the land, yada yada. Move if you don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, without getting into that whole conversation, the decision to strike down Roe v. Wade was essentially saying Roe v. Wade found a constitutional right for abortion. After 60 years of that being the law of the land, we now have come to the conclusion that there is no constitutional right for abortion. The court overstepped in their initial ruling. Mm-hmm. It made the court the arbiter, the legislator of abortion policy in the country, which is not their job. And so we're not saying you can't do or do anything. We're saying this is not for the Supreme Court to decide full stop what it means for everybody, because there's nothing in the Constitution that grants these rights. The states have the ability now to say, we're going to hold elections. We're going to allow the people of our jurisdiction to make the policy of abortion where we are at now. So tacitly, it took the ability for somebody in Texas to have an abortion from 22 weeks, 24 weeks, or whatever it was, whatever that arbitrary number was, down to 6. Mm-hmm. But it went from 24 weeks federal or law of the land 24 weeks, and California said whenever you want.
But then, okay, so taking that off the Supreme Court, like it's giving the power to the state to strip those, what we would think is an unalienable right, the power over your body. I know that in the Constitution, obviously the right to bear arms is, front and center. Obviously that's a little more egregious of what's going on there. But I mean, aren't they're just deferring to the states to strip those rights then from people? Well,
and then it goes to, it's like that same process in reverse, where if this governor is going to put in a policy that explicitly and like by mention takes away your Second Amendment right, mm-hmm. then that's going to get challenged in court and inevitably get stricken down, right. Like as we all know. So if there's a highly restrictive abortion law in a state, then again, the legal process for that to get overturned will then go and run its course. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I get what you're trying to do here, and I appreciate the ability to find similarities for different polarizations here. I think the difference is that there is really nowhere in the Constitution, which is the legal
right.
binding law of our country, right. that says yes, you have a right to an abortion. Mm-hmm. Roe v. Wade said that does exist through different loopholes that we had to jump through. And we just basically peeled that back and said, no, it is the state's choice.
Gotcha.
This is what, you could probably make the argument, and I'm sure somebody smarter than me could argue that it's no different. But just the way I see it is this
is clear cut. It's word for word, right to bear arms.
Clear cut. Yeah, I mean, it's an affront against it. I mean, that's the whole reason that this is happening. I don't know. It's super dangerous, and it could be anything, right? Like this could be saying that we're not going to allow the press to run, and that doesn't really make any sense now with the internet. But like back in the 70s, if you said that we're not going to allow the Albuquerque Gazette or whatever the newspaper is there to run for 30 days, it's to me it's the exact same thing. Right. We're saying that nobody has internet access for 30 days because of the dangerous rhetoric online. It's like,
is she getting pushback? I don't really know how New Mexico swings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Red or blue. She is? Okay.
The sheriff's department held a press conference, and they said that we are not going to enforce this rule.
That's
no
crazy.
way, no how.
How do you do that without getting fired?
I mean, I guess you risk it, right?
Yeah.
You openly defy the governor of your state, but he just said, I took an oath to protect the safety of our citizens, but also the rights of our citizens. And this is a blatant attack on the rights of our citizens. And so therefore it is against my oath. I will not be enforcing it. Neither will the sheriff's department. So yeah, ton of pushback, and it's bipartisan pushback. It's from even Ted Lieu, who's like as lefty as it gets. He basically came out and was like, This is the Bill of Rights. This is the Bill of Rights. You know what I mean? Like, there's ambiguity other places, not in the fucking Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
I would love somebody to go to the President Joe Biden, and ask him about the Bill of Rights, just to see what he says. I want to read from you.
Oh my God. I don't know what the fuck he was saying.
This is a script, and it's Joe Biden talking at the G20 summit. This is a summit of all world leaders, the 20 largest countries, save for China, who omitted the appearance of President Xi. And he's sitting there taking questions at a press conference. And I'm just going to read this, no context. And there's my brother loves having, there's famous lines from movies that he always quotes. You know, and one of them, there's a movie about John Wayne. He's an Indian scout. And they're trying to get to I think it was the Apache, one of the great tribes of America, back on the reservation. And he's standing with the Union, so they're all on there and their horses and their saddles. And there's 3 or 4 Indians in headdresses and the Union soldiers, and the Union soldiers are basically saying to the Indians, "Come with me, we'll take care of you. Everything will be good." And the Indian scout, the Indian looks at John Wayne and points at the Union soldier and says, "He's a lying, dog-faced pony soldier." Well, there's a lot of lying, dog-faced pony soldiers out there about global warming, but not anymore. All of a sudden, they're all realizing it's a problem, and there's nothing like seeing the light. That is our president. John Wayne never said those lines, by the way. That's completely false.
That was pretty good reading, though. I felt the Biden cognitive memory loss in your words.
Thank you. About 2 minutes later, he said, this is quote, I'm reading from the White House website. "But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to bed."
Everything he said after that made no fucking sense to me, dude. They shut his mic off. They shut his mic off. The president of the United States. The press conference is over. It's like, dude, that is just it's clip after clip. That's why they don't let this dude speak. Anytime he speaks, he makes a fool of himself and his entire party.
Yeah. When they asked him what they talked about with Mr. Lee, I don't know who that is, but they said, "What did you talk about with him?" This is after he said he's going to bed. So we talked about what we talked about at the conference. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, that the Southern Hemisphere had access to change. And then Karine Jean-Pierre comes in and says, "Thank you, everybody." That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Also, I didn't know, I thought Indians wasn't politically correct. And that his party is very particular about that issue. And I heard the word Indian about 7 times in what you just said to me.
It's not good. It's not a good look.
Mm-mm. You also see the video of him putting the Medal of Honor on some old soldier. 1, it takes him forever to put the medal on him. It's really weird. But then 2, he just walks off the stage, claps, and just walks off and leaves this like 90-year-old dude just standing there by himself. He just fucking walks away like clueless of where he's walking. It's like, dude, come on, man. Anyone
really bad,
else?
Really bad. I had some other stories, but I really do have to get out of here.
Dude, can I just one real quick?
Yes,
This shit is crazy. I saw this last night. Cyber attacks have shut down MGM resorts and casinos nationwide.
Whoa.
Did you not hear this?
No.
Dude, they have shut down all of their properties in the U.S., over a dozen that are in Vegas, because of a cyber attack. And everything is shut down. All the machines, people can't check into their rooms. People are having all kinds of problems. And all they can do is just shut their shit down. And they're looking into it with the FBI right now. They don't exactly know where this might have come from. But I just can't even imagine, like, if you hit a jackpot and they're like, nope, sorry. Or just in general, like, you plan this vacation to go to Vegas and now you got to try to find a hotel or whatever last minute.
Wow.
It's crazy. The hotel rooms generate revenue of about $707 million. Compared to their casino that do about $492 million over the same. That's just over 3 months, and they just said nope. And the Vegas Strip alone, their properties bring in $8 million per day. So I'm sure they'll figure out what's going on. It's a massive breach, and we've seen this in other
crazy
hotels over the last decade or so with Hyatt, Hilton, Sheraton, Wyndham, a bunch of other ones. But
I'm sure they're demanding some sort of ransom in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the FBI got in so quickly, it's like, was this another country? You know, like, could it have been a hack from? I've one thing that I read online, and this isn't verified, but I saw that they were suspecting North Korea was behind this.
Interesting.
But I don't see that here in this Forbes article. But very strange. Yeah, pretty wild. That just seems like a huge story. I'm hopefully it develops a little more and we hear more. Hopefully I'm going to be in Vegas in 2 weeks. Hopefully they've opened by then.
Nice. You'll be in Vegas in 2 weeks?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Oh, that's
come
right.
with me,
Yeah.
I got free ticket
Oh,
for
hell
it.
yeah, man. Are you staying at MGM Resort?
No, we're staying in Old Vegas because the comedy festival we're going to there.
Thank God for that.
In Old Vegas. I've never stayed there before. I'm kind of excited. Like it's much cheaper to be there, and
It's a trash heap.
it is pretty shitty looking. Yeah, the hotel we're
It's
staying at, it's
awful.
not looking great.
It's awful. I wish you the best of luck. You'll see some shit. That's
Well,
for
the
sure.
comedy festival we're going to is called Skank Fest, so it seems like that'll kind of fit right in line.
Yeah. A festival of skanks. Sounds about right. Okay. I absolutely have to get out of here. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. You know where to find us. Email bummerdude.media@gmail.com. We'll see you next time.